Hello, Eddie. So I'll be starting in, let's see, 2 minutes time at 9. So I'll just let the video roll first. Connection don't seem to be very good, but I will try. So right now, the reason why I'm hosting this episode on my mobile is because of some issues with my laptop. So I'm trying to install this what do you call streaming software, but it is not exactly done with its installation. You can see here, so it's still being installed. I'm probably going to try that for the next episode, but I mean, yeah, so we got to stick to mobile first. And yeah, okay, so it's 9. Hello everyone, so welcome to the 5th episode of Training Talk. So today, as you can see from the title, we're going to talk about how to survive 2.4 kilometers run. So the reason why I'm hosting this Training Talk on Facebook Live is because I want to have a little bit more engagement with you guys. If you have any questions, you can ask straight on the spot. Hello, Kikai. So yeah, so if you have any questions, you can just ask me in the comment section below and I'll try to answer it. But I'll probably start the ball rolling by explaining more about training for 2.4, and if you have any questions, you can ask me from there. So for today's episode, the goal will be to really get you used to running 2.4. Like when it comes to IPPT, you won't fear 2.4, but rather you'll see it as just part of the process. You'll treat it, you feel that it's as comfortable as doing the push-ups and the sit-ups. All right. So this will require a bit of dedication. So let me first start by saying the significance of 2.4. So if you look at the new IPPT format, 2.4 itself constitutes to 50 points out of the 100 total possible points, and while actually your push-ups only constitute 25, and your sit-ups only constitute 25 points. So if you look at it, in order to pass, you need 50 points, which means if you want to average everything out, you need at least 25 points for your 2.4. If you want to get your silver, I think it's 70 points, you'll need at least 35 points, and then strike a balance between push-ups and sit-ups. But let's say if you work on the other two, with 35 points, it can push you easily into the comfortable range for silver. So I actually run through the NS scoring system for IPPT for NS men, and it turns out that for every 10 seconds there will be they grade the 2.4 according to every 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds it will be a different rank altogether. So if you look at it for 25 to 27 year old, to improve 6 points, you just need to reduce a minute of your 2.4 time. So let's say your 2.4 is 14 minutes, and if you improve it by a minute, which is 13 minutes, you actually have an increase of 6 points. So these 6 points is actually very significant. So you increase from 23 to 29. So from 23 to 29 with a bit of sit-up, maybe your sit-up you score about a 25, you actually pass already. So if your sit-up gets like maybe 18, and then you get maybe a 12 or 13 for your push-ups, it'll put you in a very comfortable range for IPPT. You'll definitely pass. Okay, so for those of you who are aiming just to pass and don't want to take RT, 2.4 actually helps a lot just by improving that 1 minute. And I'll show how easy it is to, you know, improve your 2.4 by 1 minute, bring it down from 14 to 13. And for 34 to 36 years old, same thing. If you are running at 14 minutes and you drop your timing by a minute, you actually increase your score by 6 points from 27 to 33. Same thing. And the thing is, between 34 to 36 years old, you know, you're not very old, you know. Just by reducing your IPPT timing, 2.4 timing from 14 to 13 is still very possible. I'll show you in a moment's time, okay? So right now, let me get straight into it. So for IPPT, for 2.4, let's say you are training towards your 2.4 and you want to achieve a good time or you want to pass. I can tell you that there isn't a 1 week formula or a 1 month formula. Okay, minimally, I would advise you to start training between 3 to 6 months before. And it depends. Why 3 to 6 months? So 3 months for people who are already, you know, active. They are actively training, they're actively playing sports outside. They have a base, and after doing a bit of specific training for your 2.4, you'll be able to achieve the target that you want. 6 months will be for those who are not really moving as much. Maybe they haven't been active for a long period of time, and then, you know, you start training for IPPT. Know that your window has opened. I would recommend, you know, start training for it. Book your IPPT date at least 6 months upon which when you decide to train for when you decide to take your IPPT. Okay. So I'll start by talking about how can you improve your 2.4 time if your 2.4 time is between, you know, 13 to 14 minutes or beyond. Okay. So for this range of people, the goal is actually to start by consistently running. Okay, so your goal will be to consistently run your 2.4 instead of run and walk. Okay, that's the goal. So in order to do this, you need to have run sessions 3 times a week. So you need specific training for 2.4 3 times a week. Let's say if you're closer to the 14 minutes range or the 13 minutes range, you can start by running, building up towards running 3 kilometers 3 times a week. You know, initially you might not be able to start running all the way. So what you can do is, you know, run for maybe 2 minutes, then after that walk for 1 minute, and until you hit the 3 kilometers mark, and slowly reduce the amount of time that you walk, and subsequently increasing the amount of time that you spend running. So once you are able to run for these 3 kilometers non-stop, and you're able to do that for 3 times a week, you can move on from there. But by the time, if you're able to run consistently 3 kilometers non-stop 3 times a week, you should be able to bring your time to around 13 minutes. Okay, so 13 minutes for 25 to 27 year old range will give you about 29 points. So you'll definitely put in the passing range, assuming that you actually work on your push-ups and sit-ups as well. Okay, and for 34 to 36 years old, 13 minutes range will actually put you in 33 points out of 50 points. So actually, that is a very comfortable position for you to pass after that. So you just need to spend your time running 3 times a week. And how you can schedule it is basically you just have to put one of your sessions on the weekends. So weekends you won't be working, so you can definitely get in the run. Then after that, the other 2 run, you know, you just have to squeeze it in. I would say probably on Monday, you know, start of work, basically your energy is still high. You can actually, you know, get in the run much more easily, probably in the morning before you go to work, and just have to squeeze in another run during midday. If you cannot, maybe Friday you go for, Wednesday if possible, or Thursday go for a run. Then after that, you can get another run on Saturday, leaving Sunday a rest day. Okay, so now I'll stop to answer some questions first. Okay, so first question by Ching Ching is actually how to train adductors and calves. So for calves, you can actually do calf raises. So basically what you do is you stand with your feet with your ball of your feet on an elevated platform, exposing your heel, to with a drop. Then after that, you're just going to tiptoe, and then after that, you're going to drop your heel back down, and you repeat it. And that's how you train your calf. For adductors, what you can do is you can actually use a resistance band. You can strap it to one side of the on a railing, anchor it to a railing. Then after that, you can actually pull it with your legs. So that sideways. That's how you actually train your adductors. Okay. So yeah. So Kikai, okay, my 2.4 timing is okay. So right now it's probably about. Hopefully, I think I can still run 8:30, maybe 8:30, 8:40 should be okay. I haven't done my IPPT for this window, so I'll let you guys know once I'm done with it. Hopefully, I'm still able to do at least an 8:30 because I just came out of my ultra marathon just 2 weeks ago, so I still have the base there. Probably would be able to do a decent timing, not the best of timing, but decent timing. All right, Ching Ching, you have a very good question here. So does high intensity interval training helps running? High intensity interval training actually helps running. So I was actually going to move into that. High intensity interval training will actually help improve your running by actually strengthening your cardiovascular system. So let's say just now I was mentioning, you want to build up to running 3 kilometers 3 times a week. That is one way, but I know of some people who hates running. So I mean, I can recommend people to do high intensity interval training, up to 10 minutes. Then after subsequently, when you're ready, you build up to 15 minutes. But bear in mind that this high intensity interval training, it got to keep your heart rate high. Okay, so that means it cannot be one that focus so much on muscle burn, like when you're doing a lot of push-ups but you're not panting as much. It has got to be lighter in resistance, and you got to be continually moving during the period of time you're pushing hard. So what I recommend is for high intensity interval training, you can actually do something like 1 minute on, and then maybe a 1 to 2 minutes rest and continue. Try not to do interval training which has too short of an effort, continual effort. So things like, I know a lot of people say Tabata actually can improve your VO2 max. I mean, that is a study, but for me, I feel that if you drag your repetition time, that means your interval training time, the period of time you actually put in the hard effort, to maybe about 1 minute to 2 minutes, you can actually train your body to increase the work capacity even more, rather than just doing 20 seconds on and 10 seconds off for 4 minutes. Okay, and it's actually more specific towards 2.4 itself, because for 2.4 you're actually going to put in the hard work for between 8 to 14 minutes, that period of time. So with 2 minute effort repetitions, you stand to gain more fitness to help you in your 2.4. So hopefully that answers your question. And I've known of people who actually improved. So I have some of my guys whom I train. I just spoke to one of them. So they told me that when they first started training, they couldn't run more than maybe 3K without stopping. But after they started doing high intensity training, like we do things like metabolic conditioning, quite a lot of sled pushing, pull-ups, push-ups, burpees, all in the mix. If you want to find out more of this kind of training, you can actually go to my Instagram account, Metamorphitas. I'll put it in the link after I archive this video. Okay, so basically, they are hitting the workout hard for 10 to 15 minutes. And this itself builds up the cardiovascular system to a point whereby they feel that it's easy. They can run a 5K comfortably on their own. And this will actually translate well into your 2.4. So let's say if you want to run a 2.4 when you're running 5K comfortably, it is easily 12 minutes, at least a 12 minutes. So that itself can bring your time down quite a bit. Okay, hope that answers your question. If you have any other questions, keep it coming and I'll try to answer them. So right now I'll move on to talk about bringing your 2.4 timing to the next level. So we have talked about, you know, running consistently 3 times a week for 3 kilometers 3 times a week. That will bring our time down to maybe about 13. So if you want to push the boundary, you know, go for 12 minutes. Like I said, high intensity interval training is one way, circuit training. But the other way is to increase the length of your run for the runs that are done 3 times a week. So instead of just building up to 3 kilometers for 3 times a week, increase your runs to 4 kilometers and 5 kilometers. By the time you hit 5 kilometers for 3 times a week, you should be very comfortable and most probably you'll be able to hit 12 minutes. Okay, I cannot vouch for everyone because everyone's ability to adapt to training is different, but generally you should be close to the 12-minute mark. So 12-minute meaning every 400 meters you'll be doing probably about 2 minutes for each 400 meters. Yeah, so that is probably about the pace, and you'll be comfortable for most of you if you're able to hit 5 kilometers 3 times a week. All right. So once you are able to hit that mark, 12-minute mark for 2.4, that is the magic number whereby when you try to improve a bit more, it might require a switch up of stimulus. Yes, you can continue running longer distances, 7, 8 kilometers. That will definitely further improve your time. But I'm assuming that I'm talking to a group of people who are having time constraint, who are very busy people, who are working a lot, who are still studying, have a very hectic schedule. So as much as possible, I want to try to keep it short, maybe 1 hour maximum. So after you are able to hit the 12-minute mark, what you want to do is you want to include some speed work inside. So for speed work, we are talking about 400 times 6, 800 times 3. So the purpose of this speed workout is for your body to get used to running at your goal 2.4 speed. So let's say your 2.4 is 12 minutes and you want to improve it to let's say 11 minutes or 11:30. Okay, so I did some calculation. So for 12 minutes, you are running at approximately 1 minute and 49 seconds per 400 meters. Okay, so if you want to bring it down to 11 minutes, if you do some calculation, it will be about 1 minute and 40 seconds split. So that is about 9 seconds per 400 meter faster than your current pace. So what you want to do is you want to slowly bring the splits down. So what you can do is, for a start, let's say you're running a 12 minutes, okay? Next thing, you want to try to improve the time towards a 140 per lap. So when you are doing training, your speed work will include 400 meter repeats at 145 per lap. So 145 per 400 meter times 6. Initially, you can go for 2 to 3 minutes rest, then subsequently drop it down to 1 minute rest. And then once you're able to do that, so switch it down to 140 per 400 meter. Then after that, start with 2 to 3 minutes rest. Then after that, once you're comfortable with that, gradually drop your rest time down to 1 minute rest. So for this, it is important that you keep these lap splits relatively even. So what I mean by that is try to keep the timing of each 400 meter with a small margin of about plus minus 2 seconds. So if you're running 140, if your goal is 140 per 400 meter, your interval time shouldn't be anything faster than 138 or slower than 142. This is so to let your body get used to the pace, so that you know what speed to run at when you are going for your 2.4. Okay, so I mean there is really no point to actually start off initially. You are able to run a 130, then after that slowly, you know, you drop your last set, you're doing like a 210, you know. Yes, your fitness will improve, but then your body won't be able to identify the pace. So when it comes to your 2.4, the actual 2.4, you won't be able to pace yourself properly, and that might cause you to not be able to hit your timing. So this is important. Okay, now I'll stop and answer some questions. Okay, so Reginald. Okay, Reggie, is training to run a 10K different from that of running a 2.4? Yes, it is different because, I mean, first thing is that the duration itself is very different. So running a 10K, the faster ones can be doing it about 40 minutes. Then after that, the average is about 50, some 60. So that itself requires a longer time domain spent in training. So for 10K, you probably need to build up towards a long run of maybe 12 to 14K. Then after, if you want to be competitive, you'll need to do repeats, which are slightly longer. So things like 1000 meter repeats for 8 reps, you know, or maybe 5 times 1000 at 10K pace and with tempo run. So it gets slightly more complicated. Okay. However, let's say if you're training for 10K, you'll build the base, okay, for your 2.4. So let's say if you're able to run your 10K fast, you'll transit down to your 2.4. And if you're looking at getting maybe sub 10, is probably going to be very possible if you're able to do that kind of training. But then again, if you want to train, if you are using a 10K training plan to train for your 2.4 and you want to be competitive at 2.4, that means you want to hit like the very elite level, it might not achieve the kind of timing that you want because it is missing the element of speed. So 2.4, the 2.4 splits, let's say if you want to do maybe 9 minutes, it is like a 1 minute 30 seconds lap. Whereas for 10K, you are doing at like maybe 1 minute and 50 seconds. So there's a 20 seconds difference per 400 meter, and that can actually, you know, cause a discrepancy and your body to not be used to the pace. So it's slightly different. If you are using a 2.4 to train for 10K, definitely you won't be able to hit the 10K time that you want, or sometimes may not even be able to complete the run itself because 2.4 is definitely too short. It is like close to 4 times shorter than the 10K. So it is slightly different. However, if you are training to raise the 2.4 at a national level, probably the 2.4 training itself can actually make you run a decent 10K lah, because you know there's this thing about base building. So the whole idea of training for distance running is to establish a very large aerobic base through running a lot of mileage, and from there, you know, you zoom in specifically for your 10K competitive run or your 2.4 kilometers competitive run. So the top athletes running like maybe 1,500 meter race at a national level, they'll be clocking a lot of mileage, like maybe 100 kilometers a week, 80 to 100 kilometers a week during the off season. So I mean, if you are going up to that level, pretty much it can transit to any distance with specific training. Hope that helps. So for Sean, after maxing out push. Okay, so Sean, for this, right? Okay, for this question, after you max out your push-up and crunches, don't rush to perform your 2.4. So take your time, you know, walk around, stretch it out, stretch your triceps. So let's say if you are feeling the ache in your triceps, you know, you stretch it out, put your hand behind your back, do a stretch out your triceps. If you're feeling in the chest, you know, you can hold on to a pillar, okay? Then after that, you're going to twist it outwards. Twist your body outwards, you know, you feel the stretch in your chest, and that is how you actually, you know, loosen up your hands and your chest muscles. For your abs, let's say if you are feeling it, you can actually go into a cobra pose. So if you don't know what a cobra pose is, you can search it on YouTube. It is actually a yoga pose which can help you stretch your abs. So basically, I mean, for myself, I don't usually rush into doing the 2.4 after my push-up and my sit-ups. So usually I'll just hang around, take my time, drink enough water until I recover. Then I'll just head on down to do the 2.4. Yeah, there is really no rush. I'll usually just spend 10 to 15 minutes walking around before I do my 2.4. But having said that, for training wise, you can actually include certain time trial sessions or certain trial sessions mimicking your IPPT. So other than having your run training for a 2.4, maybe every 4 weeks, you can include something like a mini IPPT kind of training. So whereby you actually perform your push-ups and your sit-up first before you do your interval training, or before you do a 2.4 time trial, or before you do your long runs. So this will simulate the act of performing this IPPT test in sequence, and you'll be more used to it. So hope this helps. Okay. So Reggie asked, should I drink Red Bull or some sort of energy drink before IPPT? Okay. For me, I feel that it's entirely up to the individual. So for me, I feel that Red Bull, I'm not really a huge fan of Red Bull, but that's just me. Red Bull itself, yes, it gives you a lot of energy, but then there is after that high, after that sugar rush that gives you, you'll experience a low. So because I haven't drunk Red Bull before, I cannot tell you when you will crash exactly, when you experience this crash. But I mean, if you find that you can trial it during the run itself, during your training itself, see whether it works for you. And same, my advice will be the same as the one given to Sean. So if you want to drink Red Bull before IPPT, make sure you try it out during training. So drink your Red Bull, and then after you trial that session, take it as a trial for IPPT. So do your push-ups, some push-up training, some crunches training, or sit-up training. Then after that, go for your interval training and see how you feel. So if you feel that by the time you reach your intervals, you're lacking energy, probably it means that you have experienced some sort of depletion in your glycogen level, or experiencing this sugar low. So that means you shouldn't really be drinking that. On the contrary, you might want to experience, if you really want to drink Red Bull, you might want to experience drinking it just before the run. It might help, and I don't think you'll bonk within that 10 minutes or so. So it should be alright. Okay? Yeah, so hope that answers your question. If you have any more questions, do keep it coming. Okay, so just now I was talking about interval training. So yeah, do make sure that you keep it do make sure that you keep your splits, the splits that you want to hit, plus minus 2 seconds. Not anything more, not anything less. And yeah, so that itself will actually set you up to bring your time down from 12 minutes probably to 11 minutes. I've known of people who are using interval training to bring the time down to even 10 minutes or 9 minutes. So this itself, once again, it depends on individual. Like interval training alone, yes, it can improve your ability to run 2.4 faster, but then the thing is, it doesn't set the foundation for you to continually improve. I mean, you'll improve until you'll realize that you, after doing interval training, you'll plateau after a certain point, no matter how much intervals you do. And by the way, interval training, for a start, you should be doing once a week. The maximum that you should do, even for elite athletes, the more advanced athletes, you should be doing no more than 2 times a week, because it puts a lot of strain on your body, and you won't improve during the interval training itself. It's after that. So you need to give your body time to recover before you can actually experience the adaptations given to you through the training. Okay. So what you must do, let's say you have already achieved a plateau. Yes, you have already done your interval training, you are running consistently 3 times a week. The next step you should do is to increase your running mileage. So increasing it. So let's say if you don't have time to increase during the weekdays, what you can do is you can run longer distances during the weekends. So let's say if you have already hit, let's say you have already hit maybe 10:30 and you want to go for maybe a 9 odd minutes 2.4, what you must do is, yes, you can continue doing your interval training. You can add in another run during the day. So interval training session and a shorter run during the weekdays. And then on the weekends, you should gradually try to build up your run on the weekends up to maybe 8 to 10k. So 8 to 10k itself, let's say you build up towards that, a decent time would be maybe 60 minutes. And probably if you are consistently doing this, it should be able to get you down to at least 10 minutes or sub 10, maybe a 9:45 would be good. Like I said, all these are guidelines. You can try it out. Not everyone will improve at the same rate, but definitely you need time to get to where you want to be. So I mentioned earlier that you need to train at least 3 to 6 months before. So let's say if you're at maybe if you're running a 13 minutes, don't expect after 6 months of training that you can maybe run a 9 minutes straight away or 10 minutes straight away. There needs to be gradual improvement. There needs to be time given. Set your expectation. Like, let's say if you don't know how to go about planning your time, your training program, you can actually drop me a PM on Facebook, and we can see how we can actually help you to plan out a program which will cater to your 2.4 goals. So if you have any questions, you can drop me a PM, then we can work things out. Hello, Kobe. No lah. So yeah, so that's all I have about 2.4. I'll be probably linking a training program to you guys after I archive this video, and I'll put the link in the video below. So this free program that I'll be providing will actually help you to achieve at least a 12 minute for your 2.4. So 12 minute 2.4 actually puts you in a very good position for a silver and above. So let me know what you think after I put the program up. Do look through, try it out, let me know what you think. And this video itself, like I said, it will be archived. So for those of you who just tuned in and you missed out certain things, you can actually watch it again, on my Facebook page or on my YouTube page. I'll be putting this up on both of these channels for you to for you to watch again. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'll be going offline soon. Anyone have any more questions? No? So thank you so much for tuning in. Do let me know what you think about this session. If you have any feedbacks, you can drop them in the comment section below. If you want, you can drop me a PM as well. Do share this video, like it if you find that it's interesting and it is informative. I'll see you guys next week on Training Talk. Thank you and good night.